Chester here with Two Wolf Studio and Artist Den, and we are KSEF DP Radio as well. And I appreciate you guys being here. I'm here at Jayhawk Theater, and I am with the director. How about y'all introduce yourself?
Yeah, great.
Who y'all are? Yeah, I don't want to go fishing tonight.
No, sure. I'm Nathan Dale Short. I am the artistic director of Sunrise Theater Company and the director of Rocky Horror Picture Show, Shadowcast.
All right, let's talk like we're going through a concert because
Let's do
I
it.
want to make sure that all the audio comes through.
Okay. So louder?
Yeah, let's do it
Louder.
Let's do it one more time. Just
Hello.
tell who you are.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Dale Short. I am the artistic director of Sunrise Theater Company, and I am the director of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, Shadowcast.
And I'm Scott Frost, an alcoholic. Sorry. I'm playing as Dr. Frankenfurter in the Shadowcast.
And I'm Kelly Rippel, and I'm playing the narrator.
Right on. Okay, so I'm not going to pretend like I know what the heck the Rocky Horror Picture Show is about.
We don't either.
Never seen it.
We don't either.
I have never seen it. Never been to any screening or plays or any of that, you know. But I've always heard nice, cool stuff about it. And one thing I've heard that was a little bit intimidating to me is that everybody that goes knows all the lines, and they jump up and dress up like the characters, jump up, quote the quote, the lines and stuff. And so, like, for somebody like me who's never been, obviously can't come this time.
I mean, there's still tickets available.
Is there
I
still
think there's
tickets
a few.
available? I
There are
think
a few
it's
tickets.
sold
Okay, I'm
out.
getting the head shake. No, there's not. It's gone. They're
Sold
gone.
out
Sold out.
show. Very awesome
It's
too.
great.
But just, you know, next time this happens, like, what is the reasons that a virgin could come in and?
I'm glad you know the terminology. You know, I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think the theme that I found for the show is about the expression of the individual. You know, it is not. Kelly and I actually do a virgin initiation at the top of the show to give those people who haven't been an opportunity to experience the inclusivity that we're exuding, but also giving them a little bit of harmless embarrassment. Because that's I think a through line too, you know, like we're here to have fun. And so it can be a little intimidating seeing people come in costume, and knowing all the lines, and there are callbacks throughout, but I think our goal specifically for this production is to make sure that we are including people and giving them the best experience, not just play or show that they might see.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's insane. I mean, you gotta, I mean, I've honestly, I remember when I first went to my first one, and I went in and I was also a virgin, but I saw it, but actually going to an actual showing of it and having people know all the words and all the callbacks and everything was intimidating, but you really get into it, and you know, you're no longer a virgin of a virgin.
You're no longer the virginal version.
Yes, once you're a part of it, and I mean, you'll get to experience it at some point for sure. But I mean, it's life changing. It can be life changing because one of the messages that I've always taken away from it is don't dream it, be it. And that's one of like the strongest messages in the entire movie and everything. But as far as knowing what the hell it's about, we developed theories, but
Well, I think there's a lot of different ones, you know, they all kind of branch off.
no.
I'm confident that the narrator is actually Frankenfurter.
Ooh,
That's not true, I mean.
That's a theory.
that is a theory.
What's your answer to that question?
I would just say that, you know, the show is about acceptance and accepting people for who they are, and we all got to live our best lives, and that's what the show's about.
Yeah.
So it is about diversity, inclusivity, celebrating each other.
Yeah.
And it seems to me like it's a little bit of a welcoming to other people who don't know the culture, don't know what that is about. I mean, it's truly an art with a statement as well.
Yeah.
What's that statement?
I think what Scott said is the most accurate. Don't dream it, be it. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
As an individual, you have the opportunity to be whomever you'd like.
Anyone can lead. You don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your position. You don't have to be an authority figure. Anyone can do what they want in this life.
Right.
And
You don't just have to think about it.
Yeah, it's not easy
Right.
having a good time, is what he says in the movie. So I mean, it's just you. for me, it's kind of like it's way ahead of its time. I mean, we're talking 1975 when this movie came out. So
And
like,
the musical was before that.
yeah, and it flopped horribly. Like no one watched it, and then what, 10, 15 years later, then all of a sudden it came into existence and then became an
Cult
icon,
classic,
cult classic, and yeah, I mean it really shot off. So it's because people of that era in the 80s and whatnot were watching and were like, oh my god, this like speaks to me, because people were coming out more, and you know, gay rights were happening, and the AIDS pandemic and all that stuff. So all of it was just kind of clashing together. And that's, as a gay person, it's kind of a significant movie as well, because as a, you know, 8-year-old boy seeing this transvestite on the screen, I'm just like, oh my god, I need to be him, that's who I want to be. And he's just, you know, he's being himself, he's so comfortable. Of course, in the movie, he's kind of a tyrannical leader, but, you know.
The character.
Yeah, the character is, but.
So I'm hearing a lot about like leader and influence and do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
How important is this show to be brought here to Topeka?
Well, so Jayhawks, this is the 6th annual screening of this film.
Yeah,
They've been
yeah,
doing
yeah.
it for this is the 6th time. This is the first time with the Shadowcast. And
First time, yeah.
speaking as the director of Sunrise and this production, it's really hard, I think. Like, it's important, but it's also hard because people do have some preconceived ideas. Every Shadowcast does it differently, but there are some staples that I don't think that we've stuck to. But seeing, it kind of ties into what we're talking about, you know, the ability to manifest whatever it may be, you know, not just thinking about it, doing the thing.
Yeah.
And so I think people seeing us being silly and goofy up there is important.
Yeah.
Because it is something that Sunrise was founded on, is the opportunity, creating opportunities for people to be creative.
Yeah.
And
try-
collaborate.
And
I mean,
collaborate.
yeah,
This has been
collaborate.
such
Yeah.
a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a small group, but they are so mighty.
Yeah.
Just
Everyone's so
see,
dedicated.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
feels to me like it's a big message also to Topeka, because a lot of times Topeka is like, you can't really do anything from Topeka, and so, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I will sit here and we could definitely disagree. What's your disagreement? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, like, we've got it's a culture thing, and, you know, it's election season. We've got a gubernatorial candidate who's coming out right now saying stuff about a past drag show and how people are getting up in arms like, yes, we need to be celebrating, we need to be embracing this, and helping everyone, meeting everyone where they are, and really bringing them into the fold, like accepting the fact that, yeah, everyone is part of our community, and it does take everyone's voice in order to move forward together. So I think this show does that.
Awesome. You seem like you're pretty young. I don't want to ask you your age unless you want me to tell you.
I'm 26. I'm 26. 26 young. Yes.
And you're acting. How long have you been acting?
I've been acting since I was 16. Yeah, 16.
Okay, 16.
So 10 years.
In the past 10 years,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
I've lived in Topeka for about 15 years,
Mhm,
and so in the past 10 years, how have you seen as a youth? Because I'm 51. How have you seen as the youth of seeing the arts change Topeka and Kansas?
Oh God, yeah, no, it's definitely a well, you know, it's Topeka, is what people would say. It's Topeka,
yeah.
you know. So,
But what is
it's-
it starting to be? You
Yeah,
know?
it's definitely awakening in like certain areas. Like Studio 62 has
Yeah.
like, you know, drag brunch and like tries to really incorporate things from bigger cities like Kansas City, Atlanta, Chicago. And you see things that queens are doing. They're walking around, going to different hospitals, talking to people, you know, just really introducing that into our little town here. And then having this actually speaks volumes as well, because my dad had mentioned that he went to something like this at Jayhawk Theater, was like decades ago. And he's like, yeah, I've done it before. I was like, what? I was like, you? And my dad's like this big macho biker man. So I think when he explains to me what Topeka was like 20 or 30 years ago and versus where it is now, it's like, you know, with businesses closing and people are leaving, you know, it's important try to strengthen that community by doing stuff like this. And it really does. I mean, we're sold out, right? That's huge.
Sold
Like, oh my
out.
God,
Yeah,
we're
that's
sold out. What the
great.
hell?
That's a
Like,
celebration right
I
there.
honestly, I knew the 7 o'clock would, but the 12
That's
a.m. I was
amazing.
like, no way. And then it did, and I'm like, oh shit. I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. Because people are hungry for it, you know? Like when you go to like community or party things like that now, like the Renaissance Festival boomed this year. Oh my God, it was always packed every day, and I went 3 times this year.
Wow.
And every single time it was packed, and it wasn't like that like a couple years ago because of COVID and everything. COVID really
So the arts
destroyed
is
the
starting
arts.
to shine.
COVID? What was
Yeah.
COVID?
Just destroyed the arts. Made people business
It's that time
Did I
you're
miss
sleeping
that?
all
you're being
But see,
facetious.
I
Okay,
missed
got it.
that.
It's a perfect opportunity though, because like you said, the COVID maybe had killed the arts in a way, but the arts are that's what's gonna bring us back from
Yeah.
out of COVID.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well,
Yeah.
so speaking to that
It's
too.
always going, whether it's at home or out in the
Yep.
public. It's
Speaking to that too,
always
though,
being
Sunrise was founded December of 2020,
Yeah, which is insane.
which is in the middle of the pandemic. Our
Yeah.
first show was a little over a year after COVID was announced.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like-
you
like-
survived that. Yeah,
And it was
you really
virtual.
survived.
We did have a select audience, but like Kelly was there. Kelly was in that first show, as well as his wife Sherry, who's playing
Yeah.
Janet. You know, and it was just arts. To your point, arts are what is going to see us through. You know, like
Yeah.
a society cannot function without a consistent art base.
culture.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, as an artist, I always say art is love and love is art.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you cannot exist without either one.
Well, and you know-
Exactly
You
right.
know, wars are fought over it. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the honest truth.
Well,
And so
speaking to
they'll
that-
always thrive, yeah.
Yeah, speaking to that, you know, we do have the longest running community theater in the nation, right down the street. Arts
Right.
Connect is partnering with all sorts of organizations. The Jayhawk is still working really hard. I mean, the space now, and even a few months ago when I was in here, night and day difference. You know, we are continuing to see arts organizations step up and promote artists individually and as organizations. And I think,
sure.
you know, Topeka, I've only been here 4 years. Today is 4 years. in
Really?
Topeka, yeah.
Happy
Um,
anniversary.
I know, happy Topeka anniversary, I know. But even in those 4 years, you know, like seeing the growth that continues to thrive in Topeka.
That's
and
right.
The changes we continue to see being made is just
Stellar.
it's hopeful.
It gives hope. Yep.
It gives hope.
It does, and I've seen that, you know, my studio was in Noto at first, and then I moved downtown, and it was like they started opening up the streets after all the construction, you know, you probably
Yep,
remember
yep,
that,
yep.
you know, and it's like, is downtown gonna be able to thrive again? And watching the transition of Jayhawk and it turned into what it is right now over the last, I don't know, 45 years, it's been amazing, and there's a lot of hope in it, and so that's what I love to do, is try to promote that hope with the arts and with Topeka. I am a Topeka diehard. If somebody tells me Topeka sucks, I'll be like, where are you hanging out? Because where I go, it's nice, it's cool. And I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. I know that you got the rehearsal to get back to, but I do want to ask one question. All three of y'all, please
Yeah.
answer it however, which turn y'all want to take. But what can you tell the youth? I know you're still a youth. You're still a youth. You're still
Hey,
a
now,
youth.
geezers, no.
What can you tell the youth about like pursuing your dreams? I mean, this seems like a show that's all about that theme.
That's a great question. Kelly?
I would just say that, you know, like I said earlier, anyone can lead, anyone can do anything that they set their minds to, and it's all about mastering resources. And we have all of these things at our fingertips now. We have computers in our phones. And in order to help ourselves be the best people that we can be, we need to be able to harness these technologies and use what we have to accomplish those goals. And I think in order to, work together, we need to keep collaboration as a main focus. So
I love it.
I think that this show is indicative of the amount of work that has been done and that we're going to see moving forward in the city. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Spoken like a true politician. I honestly, again, back to the theme, don't dream it, be it. Technology, unfortunately, as much as it has given us, it also has taken away that community togetherness. And I think it's important to have moments like this because when COVID happened, like I mentioned, we were sheltered. We didn't have, we were all, I work from home 2 days out of the week. You know what I mean? I love it. But I also get kind of depressed because I'm tired of myself. I'm only so entertaining, So I just don't dream it, be it, and just that's always my message to everything. Is as long as you're fixated on something, you have the goal, and you're driven, you will achieve where you need to be. So,
Yep.
That's clean.
I think for me, piggybacking a bit on what Kelly said.
That's why we had Kelly go first, right?
Yeah. I needed time to
well-spoken.
percolate and build.
Yeah.
No, speaking to that a little bit, Isaac Newton said, and I say this all the time, Isaac Newton said that if I have seen further, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. I am privileged to have as many giants as I have in my life, and everybody in there, everybody on stage, I could not do it without the collaborative energy that we are bringing to every rehearsal. Coupled with that, just ask. Sunrise would not exist had I not just reached out to people and said, hey, can I do this?
Yeah.
The worst people can do is say no.
Right.
Just be willing to put yourself out there and say, hey, this is something I'd like to do. Can I do it? Specifically to Sunrise, and I'll shut up after this. Specifically to Sunrise, though, I asked people for space. I asked people for help financially. I asked for grants, and everybody I asked said yes. And these were people that I didn't know well. These were people that I would never have expected that from. But even the first cast, Kelly and Cherry and Jeff and Missy Boyer were all four of my cast. And I just said, hey, I'd like to do this show. And they said, cool. And just be willing to say, I'd like to do this, and be okay with getting some rejection.
Yeah. I think that's the best one. I think those are great answers, and I think that's the best way to go about life. Is don't be afraid to hear no.
Mm-hmm.
Because
especially in this industry.
Because failure is really super hard to reach.
And
There's
it's
always another door to knock on. There's always
best
another
teacher.
option. Failure usually happens when we quit. And just never quit and keep going and doing your thing.
You gotta keep using it as a stepping stone.
That's right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for taking your time and having this interview with me, man.
Thank
you
you
very much.
Thanks so
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Alexander.
Alexander Lancaster falling off my stool with Meet the Artist right here at Jayhawk Theater. And you probably aren't going to be able to see it unless you already have tickets, but
We are seeking volunteers Friday
Yes.
for both performances, Saturday, especially the late one, just FYI.
so volunteers get to work and see the show.
Correct.
So there you go. That's the best way to come in and see it. I ain't gonna lie, I love volunteering.
Do it.
There you go.
All right, we're out of here. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I'm going to keep control. Doing the time war! I want to win! No more win! The blackness protect me! And the boy will be calling! It's just a jump to the left.